Hello everyone and welcome back. I hope you've all been well. Today I'm making my own soil. So this is something I've been debating for a while. I've only ever really used potting soil, like just regular out of the bag pre-mixed potting soil. And I'm still going to be using potting soil, but I'm pretty much just kind of watering it down to make it better draining. And the way we're gonna do that is by adding a few things, obviously, like perlite, maybe some orchid bark. I got everything I need, it's in my car, so we're gonna go and grab everything we need. And I'm just gonna do kind of small batches, I think, because I don't wanna make a mess. And I don't know how much of everything I'm gonna be able to repot in one day anyway, but I will eventually repot everything. And the reason why I'm repotting everything, it's not because I'm having any issues per se, but I feel like I've kind of just been so invested in houseplants for about a year now that I just feel like I need to take this next step, if that makes sense. My watering style is water little but frequently, and I think for some plants, it's better to water thoroughly, like completely saturate the soil and let it completely dry out rather than do small increments of watering. And I can't do that with the potting soil I have now. Although it does have perlite in it, like the premixed bag that I use does have perlite in it, but it's just not enough to give me that drainage I'm looking for, especially for plants like Hoyas. They love a good draining soil, so this is for you, Hoyas. Let's do this. Okay, so here's everything I purchased. I kind of just went around and tried to find the things that I needed, and unfortunately not one spot had them all. So I got the perlite from somewhere else, the orchid bark from somewhere else, but this is everything that I'll be using, including the container that I purchased from Home Depot. Brought the mixture back inside. I'm very curious. I haven't really mixed it yet. I mixed like the top layer, but definitely gonna need to mix this a lot more. Say hi, Vulcan. Say hello. Hi. And I'm also gonna add actually mosquito bits and some earthworm castings, which is just worm poop. So after I pretty much eyeballed everything, I felt like I needed to add more perlite and orchid bark. So this is just me kind of topping it off. And the earthworm castings that I'm adding, I had actually already added pretty much this amount a little bit earlier. So keep that in mind, that it's like double the amount of what you see here that's actually going to be in the bucket in the end. I think that you can just kind of play around with depending on what kind of potting soil you're using. But I felt like I needed to add more, and this is really the most important part. So mixing it is really the most important part. You really want to mix it well and for at least 10 minutes if you're gonna, I don't know, put a time limit on it, or else you're gonna have half your plants with a whole bunch of perlite and half your plants with more potting soil. So definitely be consistent and mix as much as you can. Mixing is definitely the most annoying part. It took me way too long, and I wish this was real life where you could just, fast forward through it, but it's definitely worth it in the end. Do not skip this step. Please do not skip this step. So next step is to bring all of these plants, or at least the ones I'm repotting today, down here on top of this towel so it doesn't get too dirty, and then repot them. This is about the consistency that I'm going for. I didn't really measure anything, unfortunately. I used a whole bag of the orchard bark, so they were obviously like smaller bags, so keep that in mind. And I used probably like 1/3, no, not even, like 1/4 of the perlite bag, and then half the bag of soil. And then I probably used about 1/3 of the worm castings bag. I think you just kind of have to ballpark it, unfortunately. I don't have anything that's gonna let me measure things like accurately. But I know that I typically want like a good amount of perlite. I mean, that's the whole point, is to have drainage, and perlite is what adds that drainage. And the orchid bark. I want to add, I did get the smaller orchid, I think it's called Fine something. versus like a big one. So this is like what regular orchid bark would look like, but the ones in here are obviously like much smaller. I have a lot of baby plants, and generally I think like Hoya roots are a little bit thinner, so that was kind of my reasoning. And a friend of mine who already mixes his own soil recommended that I get the fine one. I don't think it makes too much of a difference, but maybe the larger ones would be better for like philodendrons or monsteras, or maybe even anthuriums, since they have thicker roots. But I mean, it'll work for, I think, all of them that I have, so I'm not too worried about it, especially because of the perlite. Yeah, that's where we're at. Okay. And last thing I want to mention is water the plants before you start doing the repotting. It will help tremendously when you're trying to break apart the roots. That's not something I actually thought ahead on, so I had to like go and water them halfway through. And this is me like trying to spray them with water so I can break them apart. Yeah, learn from my mistakes. And I realized that I did not need to record this part, like me trying to actually repot everything. I'm just gonna go ahead and fast forward through this entire part so that the video is not 47 minutes long. I did actually end up repotting all of my plants. The soil ended up being more than enough. But as you can see, I don't have that many plants. Like everything kind of fit on that towel. So yeah, that was a nice surprise. This is obviously also a really good time to clean your plant shelves, so if you have been wanting to do that for a while, definitely get on that. Well, here's everything that I've repotted. It's a bit of a mess right now, but as you can see, it's all empty. I just wiped everything down, and now I'm gonna water everything. Some of them I'm gonna water just like over there on the counter, and some of them I'm gonna water once I put them back in their spots, just depending on if they're in a cage pot or not. But yeah, let's do that. Okay, you guys, so it's been about 4 days since I've done the repotting. I just wanted to check in and let you guys know that it ended up working so well. So many of my plants already have new growth, and especially the Hoyas, I know they were struggling the most, and that was my main motivation for doing this. One thing I will recommend at the end of this all is take a day to do this. You're not going to be able to do this in like 2 hours. Definitely took a very long time, and definitely monitor your plants afterwards. I don't have too many victims here that got burned or anything like that. I think I just have one, but that might have just been due to like overwatering or just like a transplant shock. So definitely keep that in mind and be home to look after your plants afterwards. So I just want to show you guys what I mean. So this Hoya carrii did not have any new growth before I potted it up. Don't mind the water stains. I don't know why these just do not come off. But you can see this little part has activated. Nothing on that one, but yeah, very exciting. And don't see too much. Oh, this one is also growing this new leaf. It was just this one big one. My courtesii, is that how you say it? Hoya courtesii over here is also putting out new growth. Yeah, I'm overall very happy with the results. That monstera wasn't happy before. It's not happy now. I don't know what it wants. Let's see over here what else we got. I think that's it for the new growth. I mean, it's only been 4 days, but yeah, we'll definitely keep you guys updated. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. This was exciting for not just myself, but hopefully if I was able to help any of you guys. Obviously this is something that worked for me, but it might not work for you. So do your research and make decisions based on what kind of plants you have and what will make them happy. That's all I got for now. You guys have a good one. Stay safe.